welcome to the main Event Fightcast. I'm your host, Vega, alongside Coach Mike. And I'm trying to muster up as much energy as possible, but this last fight night was kind of, woo! I thought the weekend before was bad, but this weekend put me to sleep twice.
Twice?
The first one put me to sleep.
You said twice?
The first one twice. Twice. Out cold.
Fact check, it was more like 12 times?
Out cold,
12
bro.
times.
I remember like 3 fights, and I'm guessing those were the good fights because those are the ones I remember. Yeah, but overall, you watched more of it, so how did you feel about it?
I watched plenty and don't remember much because there wasn't much. First fight started off solid, bad decision. It's been kind of a theme now.
That's been a big theme, especially for the first fight of every night for some reason.
Yep.
And also for the women's fights. So like that's the correlation. We got to figure out which of those is real.
I'm starting to think it does take a little toll from like the audience point of view. Like you watch a decent fight, and then you're like, whoa, did she really win? Yeah. It wasn't a robbery, but I definitely saw it the other way.
Yeah, it wasn't a robbery. It falls in that weird space of damage. Like, what are the rules?
And it was it was a women's fight. It was a women's fight. There was one of the
the women held it down, bro.
The two women's fight were the most exciting fights.
But it brings us back to that space of like, what are the rules in MMA as far as when it comes to winning? Like, we know the rules as far as what not to do so you don't get disqualified. But what does it actually mean for the rules? Like, where do we qualify damage versus control time? Where do we qualify pace versus striking? Like, all these different elements that take place. Because when you look at that fight, and I always respect the opinion of again, using internet lingo, the casual fans, right? When they see a fight and they're like, yo, that is like, this is clearly a robbery. This person is bleeding.
They just
right? Like that damage is impactful. Like you're walking away with a scar, fam. I'm walking away and you choked me a couple times.
Robbery it must be an attractive word because we throw it in there too much.
People throw it around a lot. Way too much.
But once again, to your credit, you did say, oh, Vegas. They don't really like the wrestling.
They don't like grappling.
They don't like grappling that much.
They don't like wrestling in Vegas.
It's something with the commission in Vegas. They tend to go with the striker over the wrestler if it's close. But
my 2 conspiracy theories around that. First conspiracy is, I think it has to do with the history of boxing, right? Like the history of boxing being this hand-to-hand punching only sport, right? Like the judges in Vegas have more experience with boxing, so that's what they gear towards more as far as scoring.
That's fair.
Right? Then there's the darker conspiracy where I'm just like, they want to make sure boxing sticks around and they don't want to bring too much to it, so they do weird shit. And like, because a robbery could be off-putting, especially for somebody who's betting for the first time. Like, right? Like, these are things we want to believe people are not taking into any type of consideration when they're doing these jobs. But if they are at all, you know, for somebody who's betting for the first time and they take an L like that, it's like...
It's a buzzkill.
It's a buzzkill. You know, you don't want to be a buzzkill. But like I said, that's a deep, crazy conspiracy. I don't really...
Can't worry about the bettors in that sense because it goes the other way often too. I know I've definitely, on like bad decisions, I've ended up on the better side.
Yeah, we've all been on the good side of bad decisions.
I've been on the better side of it.
You can't cry about it when it works and then cheer when it cry about it when it doesn't work and cheer when it works. That's crazy. We've all been on the good side of a really, really bad decision.
It happens, but it's more about the questions you like. Did I see that wrong? Do I have to watch that again? And they weren't exciting enough that I got to watch it back so soon, but
yeah, and
maybe I should.
There weren't a lot of names either for it, right? Like the big names was Tatsuro Taira and Alex Perez, right? Like those were the real big ones.
But if you go back a couple events ago, Alex Perez headlined a no-name fight card, and that was
a hit. That was
a hit. And
was a banger.
Honestly, maybe that one that one slowed everything up. It slowed everything up. After that, everything has been, well, they talk about the gloves. I think it's up to like 32 fights.
Yeah, that's your conspiracy. The gloves is
No,
preventing
no,
knockouts.
no. Listen, I wish I could say it was my conspiracy, but the internet, they're on everything, man, and I've seen it. They're talking about 32 fights and about 3 or 4 knockouts, I think it was.
Wow.
That's alarming, but there was some submissions though.
Yeah.
There was some
Been a
submissions.
couple. There's been some
submissions.
I don't think we're in a space yet where we have to start like looking at the numbers for it. It could just be people warming up, getting used to it. But there could also be some extra pillow in there.
Let an event like this one coming up with some heavy hitters.
Right. Because that's really that's the meat and potatoes of today. Unfortunately, there's not a lot to talk about for last week.
Oh,
but this week coming up,
the
prelims is an introduction to. So for a lot of people who don't know, International Fight Week is typically UFC's big like celebration of fighting, where they try to incorporate the whole world and bring all of the different nations represented in some way. Or in the case of this potential specific fight week, they're trying to capture a market, and that market is the Asian market. It's a huge market, and it makes perfect sense. So they're targeting that, and you're going to see on the prelims tons of people from the Road to UFC, which essentially is Asia's version of the Contender Series. So a bunch of people that you don't know the names of, which, thankfully, on the main card, we've got a bunch of people we do know. So we're really glad for that. But before we even get into all that, let's take a second to really talk about the craziness that has been going on with the UFC these past 2 weeks, right? Like, the event swaps have been absurd. And I think I want to start with McGregor, right? Like, let's get McGregor off the table right out the gate. This was supposed to be McGregor's comeback fight, right? Right, and that's the thing, right? Are we at a point now where it's like, yeah, bro, retire, just retire?
No.
No?
But no, they're not gonna. I don't think it's retire. I think it's get healthy enough to get a fight. I don't think Michael Chandler.
How long will that take?
I don't think rebooking Michael Chandler is the move for him.
Yeah, I don't think realistically. I feel terrible for Michael Chandler, but I do not think that this panned out at all.
When Dominic Cruz was dealing with injuries after injuries after injuries, Dana's told him that whenever he's healthy, he'll get a title shot. How many title holders would love to give Conor McGregor a title shot?
Yeah, everybody would. Everybody would, for sure.
It's why Chandler doesn't make sense. It's why people told him don't hold on to it. If he's not right there, you're not the best fight. I'm sorry. He did enough by honoring it this much and trying to get this fight to go, but no.
So you don't see. I mean, I don't see a world where Chandler and McGregor gets booked again. But also,
I don't see a world where Chandler lets go of it. Conor has to be a bad guy in that sense and just be like, nope, not. After this injury,
who do you think Chandler goes for?
He has better.
If he does say he wants to fight somebody else, who do you think that is?
Oliveira, again.
Rematch Oliveira?
Guy coming off a loss, that makes sense. For Oliveira,
puts him back in the title conversation.
For Oliveira, that's what he should be aiming for. Oliveira might be sitting out for a little while, being like, nah, I'd rather get a better fight. But,
I think Oliveira's in a money fight position. I think he's on the verge of retiring too.
Or even Dariush.
Ooh, Dariush. Benil Dariush would be fun.
Basically somebody coming off an L that's right up there.
Yeah.
He makes it spectacular and he's back in.
He's back. Yeah, I think if they can get a bag to Charles Oliveira, especially because it's part of the McGregor fell apart package for Chandler, it'll be worth it.
I can see them giving him a gift fight, like in a world where there's some hypotheticals. If Max can't,
some crazy hypotheticals coming.
If Max can't get it done with Ilya, Michael Chandler versus Max for the BMF.
I don't know, because it seems like, and this might be me overthinking it, but it seems like the BMF might go on the line at the same time.
No, that's what I mean. No, it's not happening.
You don't think so?
Why would the UFC let this guy that just won the belt, no defense, no nothing to
Yeah.
there's no reason to make him the BMF. I don't think Michael Chandler's a BMF, but him going through whatever he's gone through with Chase and Connor, I can easily see
He earned it.
that Dana White, what's it
You
called?
earned
Dana White
something.
privilege, like
Yeah.
Tony said.
Dana White privilege, you earned something.
Like,
Well, I don't even call that
give-
one. I wouldn't qualify under Dana White privilege. Like Michael Chandler genuinely deserves something.
But we wouldn't have called him a BMF if things hadn't gone so bad for him in this
If he
way.
beat Conor, he'd be in that conversation. Because everybody wants to see Conor versus Max.
I'll be honest, that wouldn't have made him a BMF in my eyes. If he would have got a dub off of Gagey, which I thought was a closer fight than some people think, but Gagey absolutely won the fight.
Okay. Well,
If he would have got
for
that
me,
win, that really
I think this
just
is
because the way they fought.
I think this is the turning point for McGregor. I think that's it. We are.
I can see it.
Because we reached a point where you're coming off of 3 back-to-back losses, all with some sort of injury, all with some amount of time. Like unless they say this injury is going to resolve itself in under 6 months, we're talking about another year off for McGregor, bro.
I 100% see what you're saying about it being the end, but I can also see him trying to stretch it in the sense of if his next fight is for the title, win or lose, they're not going to write him off. He lost to a champion.
For me, that would be an aggressive Dana White privilege moment. Like I don't like. There's not enough that Connor's done a lot for the sport, but I don't really see a realistic situation where anybody can just be like, yeah, after 3 losses, a canceled fight because of an injury, like that just sounds crazy.
The thing is,
That sounds crazy.
the thing is lightning in the bottle that can possibly. They're not gonna say no to it.
That sounds crazy.
It
A contender shot, sure. But a title shot, that's aggressive.
A contender shot leaves too much on the line. If it's a contender shot, you probably don't have a backup. If it's a championship fight, you absolutely have a backup. If he can't make it to the fight, it's still there. It's just, there's a lot of
Yeah.
I can't really explain how.
I think McGregor's legacy has been amazing, and I think it's just time to wrap it up.
But it's red penny night for whoever.
Yeah, whoever wraps it up.
They're
But
all
there is
itching-
nobody to wrap it up left.
Bro, they'll fight a contender. They'll be a contender for. They'll do a tournament to fight this guy. Just
Just for the money.
Yes.
But I think even that part's starting to fade. Like,
Is
you
it?
got to really look at the picture of this, right?
Is it though?
Hell yeah. Bro, you have people who spent over $20,000 for a seat before we even get into flights or anything else, and McGregor's not showing up. For some people, that was their only chance to do that.
Right.
For some people, they have multiple chances, and they're not going to take another one.
You're right. That
You know
might
what I'm
be a
saying?
last straw for those kind of guys. But those
Right,
people,
you
but
know what I mean? Or
sucks.
like, and you think about somebody who's like, yo, I was there when he lost to Khabib. I was there when he lost to Dustin both times, and I bought the ticket for him to go fight Chandler. Like, yeah, at some point you got to draw the line. Like, and don't get me wrong, I understand there's super fans, and there's always going to be super fans. There's always going to be money in McGregor.
I don't think the losing as
But-
much as the not showing up hurts as much. Like, just because the way it was done, the way they kept it under wraps for so long.
Yeah.
While
Like,
trying
there's
to-
just a lot of stuff that hurt him.
That's
Yeah.
that's what really made it bad. Like, you could have came out earlier and said it. Like, I understood when they stopped selling tickets. Why get back to selling it?
Right, why get right back to selling it?
Why get back to selling it
Shit
and
was
saying,
crazy.
oh, it's discounted?
But it was like I told you that last week.
Like a 10
McGregor's
like a
probably
10%
injured,
off or something.
and they're counting on the fact that he's going to be able to fight injured. And then McGregor came out and was like, yo, I
do
was
think-
injured, and I was
do-
counting on
do
the fact
think-
that I was going to be able to
I
fight.
100% think that
Yeah.
Conor was like, I can make through this. I'm not going to say he got bullied by the internet, but the internet bringing up the fact that, oh, you're about to finally pull out for the first time in your career. I can see that feeding to his ego and being like, no, whatever this injury is, I could get through it. I can get through it. Getting
Yeah.
doctors, second
Other opinions and other opinions and
second
keeping it
opinion.
pushing.
Yeah. I can
It's
see
possible.
that. I can
It's
see
possible.
that. I can see that. But when they went back on sale and on sale, I was puzzled. I'm like,
That hurt. That hurt.
If he doesn't show up, this is terrible.
That hurt.
Sure enough, Dana made the announcement, and you're right. You're right. His spark is dying a little, but
It's not going to completely dim ever.
Exactly.
Like, he'll always be a celebrity-worthy
fight. But there's
fight.
the thing. When you compare it to others, they talked about Sean O'Malley being this big star that they rushed Aljo to take this fight, or if you don't get it, somebody else will. He's ready to fight this time. He says he regrets it because the numbers weren't what they expected. This, and that. When has anybody ever said that about a Conor fight?
Nah, nobody's ever said that with a Conor fight. Except for Chandler. Because the numbers didn't show up at all.
There's people that seem like stars, and they seem like they might be the next one up on that. And most of them don't live up to that. I think Israel Adesanya is one of the few that lives up to that. And you know why?
It's because there's different levels of stardom, right? There's being a star in the thing you're doing, and then there's being a star in other spaces. So like a Sean O'Malley, a lot of people know who Sean O'Malley is. The majority of the people who know who Sean O'Malley is do not watch fights. They just know who he is. So they're not going to pay to watch him. Like, they just know him as the guy who fights. They know him as the rainbow hair guy who's on Twitch, right? Like, they know him as the weed smoking cool guy, champion fighter. Like, they know these little quick snippets about him, but they're not going to actually go pay for a pay-per-view to watch him fight.
Well, that's interesting.
You know what I mean? Like, he's a celebrity on Twitch.
I guess I don't pay attention to the Twitch stuff at all.
He's got like 2 million followers on Instagram.
Yeah, well, that's Instagram.
You know what I'm saying?
I have to do with Twitch, though.
No, but just thinking about, like, he has 2 million followers on Instagram.
I was going to say that on Twitch.
Nah, he probably has like 2 million on Twitch as well.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. So he has these spaces where he can be a face of a brand, right? Like, he can be like, enough people know and will see him versus Israel Adesanya where people know him in the thing for the thing he's doing. People are buying, like, even if we're just talking about the race card, right? You got people who are like, oh, Izzy's the champion? Oh, he defended? Yeah, I'm going to buy it because I'm supporting black. You know what I'm saying? Like, people will go even that far with Izzy as a fighter. You don't really see a lot of that with a lot of fighters. And Conor had the same effect, right? With the Irish people. Like, he literally brought an entire nation into the UFC by being the Irish guy.
I also think that brought eyes because it was just like, oh my God, what is this chaos? So people
right. Who is this dude?
And until he's made a liar, his light was just going like that. He said he was going to take out Aldo, all of that. And then Khabib is
the only one.
I'm not going to say that's probably. I'm not going to say that it was the first thing for the downhill with Conor, but when he told Khabib, it's just business. That's a lot. He was in the cage with him, and he said it's just business. I think that hit a lot for his persona. Like, that was the first real hit to his ego. It was big. I think that's bigger than even him tapping.
I don't think that was that big of a hit.
I think so. Yeah. When you, like I said, when you're the man, everything you say happens, and then you're made a liar a little. It just takes it. The same way Khamzat, he hasn't lost his aura in the cage, losing or whatever, but he's lost his aura.
Bro, forget losing his aura. Latest news with Khamzat, this latest injury has him considering retirement. He is talking about retiring. He does not think he will be coming back to the cage.
I don't know that was real. I didn't see anything where the retirement was real.
He put up another post just like he did the first time that he got sick. He might have taken it down, but he put up a tweet talking about how he's tired of the illnesses and having to struggle with this. So it seems like, and it's weird because this is Khamzat Chimaev might be the best example of long COVID to exist right now. Like, as far as someone living with it, he caught COVID. Like, he was on remember, this is a guy who fought twice in 7 days. You know what I mean? Like, he was going. Then he caught COVID, and he has not been the same since. Mm-hmm. So whether he lost his aura or not, I'm not talking about.
Because
Do
part of his
you
aura,
think it's
part of his
raw?
aura was lost against Burns.
Yeah, a lot of his aura was lost against Burns.
Exactly.
I think it then diminished a little bit more against Usman.
Not so much.
People did not let go of the fact that he was off the couch, bro. That's a very important factor.
But at the end of the day, it was Usman, so it wasn't. It's not a shocker that was a close fight. It's not.
I don't know.
I don't see that as a close fight. I think, all right, if Usman went up and challenged Izzy, if they didn't have this bond, would you be shocked if Usman mauled him?
Yeah.
You would?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked if
I
wouldn't be shocked if Usman mauled
Hold
Izzy,
on.
and I wouldn't be shocked if Izzy knocked him out.
But I'm talking about, we're not talking about regular fight situation. We're talking about Usman off the couch.
No.
Usman came off the couch to fight Khamzat, who had been training. Usman in a weight that's not his own.
In a weight class that we believe he could have easily been champion.
With no time for prepping for this fight. He went up and fought. That's what I'm saying. Khamzat lost some of his luster in that fight too, because that should have been an easy fight. Again, he's coming up in weight.
Off the couch is a big statement. It's a big statement because
Bro, Usman's doing a podcast.
Yeah, but we don't know.
We know how off the couch my man is.
We don't know what he's doing on his off time.
Not a full camp on Khamzat.
Hanging out with Henry Cejudo.
So you don't think that? So you think that, despite the aura of being unbeatable that Khamzat had, you thought it was going to be stopped by Usman no matter what? Well, that's what you're saying, bro. Off the couch.
If we're talking about that Burns fight, yeah, I knocked out Burns. I knew I was better than him before the fight. We trained together. He looked human against my training partner that I knocked out. I could do this off the couch.
But I'm saying you believe that.
No, I'm just saying the fighter Usman.
No, but do you believe that?
I think he has a chance. Like I said, when is Khamzat most dangerous?
When he's grappling.
When he
the first round.
When he grabs you and doesn't let go of you. Now I wouldn't be shocked if he would have choked out Usman, but I definitely wasn't shocked that he wasn't able to hold Usman down. I
was, especially coming off the couch and coming into a weight class up from what you normally fight at.
Usman's a very good wrestler. This is why Colby Covington never shot for takedowns, even though Usman hurt him a bunch of times. He never shot for a takedown because he did not think for once he could hold him down and that'd be a safe place.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like hindsight is affecting your thought. I feel like leading up to the fight, to say that you 100% believe. I mean, even the way you said it is kind of crazy. Like you wouldn't have been shocked if Khamzat choked him, but you also wouldn't have been shocked.
No, because I don't.
But like those are complete opposites. You're saying you're not shocked.
The same way I wouldn't be shocked if Izzy knocked out Usman, but I wouldn't be shocked if Usman mauled him and held him down for 5 rounds. He didn't just hold down Tyron Woodley, but if it went like Tyron Woodley, I wouldn't be shocked because that's them in their complete opposite skill set. Khamzat.
Yeah, but Khamzat and Usman have the same skill set.
Khamzat takes people down and subs them.
Yeah.
Usman takes people down and knows how to hold them down, ground and pound, and keep them down and bring them back down. It's American wrestling versus this Dagestanian brute strength stuff that, like I said last time, the first time we see Khamzat shoot for 10 takedowns and land 1 or 2, I want to see how his gas tank looks after that, which would have been perfect against Whittaker. His health forbid that. I don't know that he'll ever be the same. Hopefully he will be, and it wouldn't be an excuse that his immune system.
I think against Usman, it was a big example of what his gas tank looks like and what his capability looks like.
It's also a change of opponent.
But even with
who was Khamzat going to fight?
I completely forgot.
Completely forgot too. But I'm sure it wasn't somebody as decorated as
No, it was.
Usman
It was supposed to be
at
somebody.
wrestling.
It was somebody that was supposed to be ranked. Paulo Costa.
You think that Khamzat feared shooting for takedowns with him and
No, but
Messi?
he didn't show any fear taking down Usman either.
No, I know.
The question
but
isn't about fear. The question is about what he went up against. And that's what I'm like. So you're saying you 100% believed before the fight that Usman was going to be able to stand and defend himself, but you also believe
no.
that
That was
Khamzat was going to be able to choke him out.
I was sure that there would be takedowns landed, both ways. I don't know that Usman landed any though.
But that's what I'm saying. So again, right? To say that Khamzat's luster was not damaged is crazy. You were sure that Khamzat was going to take down the man in the UFC who had never been taken down.
But I knew he
Right.
would not be held down.
But how would you not be shocked if he would get him in a submission if you knew he couldn't hold him down? When
'Cause
that's
it's-
required to get him in a sub.
No, it depends. This is the thing. No, it depends.
What sub can you get without holding somebody?
Listen, it depends. It just all depends. I just knew that he wasn't gonna be able to hold him down and not be getting. If he's not getting the sub, he's gonna get up. Usman's wrestling.
I'm agreeing with the wrestling part on that. I'm saying for you to believe that on 6 days' notice, but also believe that Khamzat was going to be able to choke him out, those two don't go together.
No, I believe that there was a possibility of those. Like, you kidding me? It's just if they're gonna grapple, he has a chance to do that.
Well, there's always a chance, but we're
Yeah.
talking about whether you would be shocked by
No.
the chance or not. To say you wouldn't be shocked by it means you expect it.
No, wouldn't be shocked means is just that's what their skill set predicts that the fight is gonna go. Just
Well,
off
yeah, no,
the,
that's game planning. But as far as
Yeah.
your reaction to something, like you
No,
wouldn't be
no, I
you
wouldn't-
wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be shocked because
That sounds crazy to me because the whole surprise factor would be I believed he wouldn't be able to hold Usman.
Shocked
so the
is-
shock would be he
shocked is-
held Usman.
Shocked that is I didn't think Usman would be the first person to knock out Jorge Masvidal. Jorge Masvidal never been knocked out.
I just don't understand. So in that same logic, Usman has never been taken down. So you would not be shocked that Usman, the man who's never been
Khamzat-
taken down,
exactly.
would
Off-
get subbed?
off the couch.
Would
you
get
said.
subbed?
No, I didn't say that he will get subbed.
No,
that there was a possibility once if he gets it there.
But you said,
'Cause like you
you
said,
would
that's what
you
Khamzat
would not have been
does
shocked if he got the sub.
Why would I be shocked when Khamzat?
Because how do you see him getting a sub if you don't see him holding Usman? That's the shocking part. Like, how do you sub somebody without holding them down?
Bro, but you're saying like if I'm saying that he cannot hold him down at all. I'm saying I knew he would be able to
I'm
get
saying
up.
what you're implying by saying you would or wouldn't be shocked by something. That's what I'm implying.
The
Like
same way
that-
I said opposites earlier.
No, because all right, so
You're
using your Jorge example, right? Using the Jorge example, you would be shocked if Jorge got knocked out by Usman because
but
he had
use-
never been knocked out.
No, but use the Izzy example and if Izzy and
No, but let's
Usman
use a
fought,
real
it's the same
example.
thing.
It's not the same.
That I could see it going both sides of the coin. That's like saying
No.
it's not
but
possible that I
seeing
said I could see it
no.
being has a tails. Of course.
Okay, this is what you're not understanding somehow. Seeing that it could happen from either side of the coin is understanding game planning, right? Game plan working is what you're questioning what you expect will actually work. Which of the game plans do you
no.
think will work? Wait,
No,
let me
but you're-
finish.
you're confusing
I'm not
me
confusing.
being
Let me finish. I'm not. You understand the game plans. There are two game plans, right? Which game plan do you think is going to work? Is what you're saying is going to win the fight. The shocking
different.
game plan is the one that happens that goes against what you thought was going to work. Especially in a case, which is the case we're talking about, where you're saying the man who's never been taken down, it wouldn't shock you if he was subbed.
No, I first said that I wouldn't.
How does that work?
Because he's going to shoot for takedowns all day.
Yeah, but if the man has never been taken down, how do you say you would be shocked if he like?
And how many times did he get taken down?
We're talking about
was bound
before,
to-
I'm talking
he was
about
bound to
before
lose
the
that
fight.
right in that fight.
Before the fight, to
Yeah.
say that you would be I don't understand, bro. I don't understand the logic on that at all.
I don't know why we spoke about this for 20 minutes and now.
Because I was trying to understand your logic on it, and it made no sense. So,
because I think you're confusing me saying that I wouldn't be shocked it going that way. That I can't not be shocked for both things.
no, I'm asking you, and you haven't clarified. Is what I'm saying. I literally said you would not be shocked if Khamzat subbed Usman. You said no because you expected him to be able to take him down.
I didn't expect that. I expected him to try to. Exactly. Was what I said, try.
So you expect him to try.
Same way we didn't.
So hold on.
I didn't
so
expect,
you expect him to try, right? To what level do you expect that trying to be successful?
To at least get the first takedown. I would
Okay.
I would have.
But you didn't immediately say to get the sub. So that's where the expectation is confusing me, bro. I'm like, wait, how is that not a shocking result to you? If you don't even, if you yourself do not expect it, you expect him to try to take him down. You don't expect the takedown to work. So how do you jump from not expecting the takedown to work to expecting a sub?
The same way I said, yes, Khamzat does have the ability to choke him out or sub him in a way, but if he's not applying, if he's fighting the choke, I don't see him being held down.
So you wouldn't be surprised if he got the choke?
No, because the thing is with Khamzat, his potential is in the ceiling, but we've also seen him at some point losing a striking match with Burns.
But we're talking about grappling.
He didn't go to his grappling against him.
But he went to it with Usman.
One is more of a decorated sub artist, and one is an American wrestler that they kind of like clash. Like, oh, we go for the finish. Y'all just hold people down.
Yeah.
So I just felt like as a game plan, Usman knew if I get taken down, sure, just fight the chokes, fight the sub, and I can get up. And that's what I mean by that.
But even in saying that, where I'm confused is you wouldn't have been shocked if he wasn't able to get up? You sound like you're very confident in the fact that he's going to be able to get up.
Because like we said, it's what was it, his first fight at middleweight?
Yeah.
First fight at middleweight, didn't have a training camp for it. And the only thing is that it could have ended up being more of a standing fight because it was against Paulo and
Nah, Khamzat's beard, no mustache. All he does is wrestle.
Not always. Not always. We seen it. Not always. It was a little more. It was a little more heated with those two.
Ooh.
There was some heat with Paulo and Khamzat.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
So maybe he would have stood up with him on.
Nah, you saw what he did to Kevin Holland when there was heat.
Yeah, but I think Kevin Holland is such a rangy striker. Like that's.
You don't think Paulo's a wild striker?
No.
With more power?
Paul, definitely more power. But Paulo's more in the pocket. So technically he's in a better position to defend these takedowns as opposed to Holland, who's a lot wider in his stance. Kickboxer.
Yeah.
He has more of a kickboxing stance. And it's just, he went like this. I wouldn't see that happening in Apollo versus Khamzat.
Oh, you don't think they're gonna touch gloves?
Exactly. You think that didn't play a part?
Yeah, I did. I hated that during that first half.
In his decision to shoot?
Yeah.
I think that.
Yeah, nah, for sure. Because not even in the decision to shoot. I think that was gonna happen anyway.
I think
I think it was just like
the businessman. The same sentence I said about Conor saying it's just business. The businessman in Kevin Holland is, I picked a fight with one of the stars. I'm about to fight him. The way that card, let's not even get into how that card went crazy.
All sorts of shit.
But it was awesome. He is like, now we get to fight for the money, bro. Hand up. He was trying to give him his props. We're about to fight for the money. Let's go. That's the businessman in him. Like,
I don't think it had anything to do with the businessman. I think that's just Kevin Holland's nature.
Yeah, but
he just has fun with it.
We had our heat.
Yeah.
Now we're getting paid.
Let's settle this.
Now they gave us a little bit of extra money to fight each other instead of fighting somebody else.
Yeah, no, I think you're thinking too deep. I don't think he thinks anywhere that deep. I think
Kevin Holland?
I think he literally gets in the cage and is just like, all right, let's have some fun, bro.
But,
You know what I mean?
no,
Like,
no, I
that's
think
it.
it's like, oh,
That's
we
it.
about to find out. You said you was gonna knock me out.
Right, and let's have some fun. I don't think the money comes to
'cause
mind at all in the cage.
Kevin Holland did not expect him to shoot at all.
No, he expected him to shoot, just not in that moment.
Not exactly.
Yeah, not in that moment.
Exactly. He
Yeah.
definitely expected him to shoot eventually,
Yeah.
but I guess I don't know.
He went for the
certain
glove
fighters.
touch.
You think you talk like that. You think you gonna go meet in the middle a little to a certain extent. And Khamzat saw a moment and he shot and never let go of him, which is just a different grappler as opposed to Usman, who should know where to be safe or whatever. But if he didn't, like, come on, if he wasn't ready for chokes and all of that, he would have got choked out. And he did a good job defending everything. That's how I felt the whole fight. It was almost like if he was waiting for him to gas out. But I don't think he did enough to make him gas
That's pretty
out.
much how he fought the whole fight. Usman just kind of turtled up until he was like, let me turtle out, see how long this guy can actually go.
He turned it on
That's
late,
why he was
but
like, yo, if I could have made it a 5-rounder, I would have won the fight.
But I just, who can Usman really outbox without making him think wrestling? Other than Kobe. He's not really, like, he's not outboxing Jorge if wrestling wasn't an option.
Yeah, no.
But the fear of that, Jorge walking around talking about, I'm not scared of his punches. Psychologically, he was already losing in that battle. He already felt like he doesn't hit hard. So now you keeping your hands lower. You more worried about the takedown. When you get hit with a punch you don't see. And you get woken up like, what? My first time getting knocked out was by the guy that said don't hit hard.
Yep, pretty much.
Welcome to the UFC.
Oh, man. Yeah, so I think that leaves Khamzat in I don't know. I hope Khamzat gets better. We'll see what happens. Personally, I think his flame is completely burned out. I think even if he comes back, he has to come back against somebody interesting. And if he was having trouble finding opponents before with the flame he was on, finding an opponent now is going to be crazy.
Yeah.
You know, so I understand the position he's in.
I think Polo was getting that reputation too, where people were like, is he gonna show up? I think Whittaker mentioned that. Like,
Whittaker mentioned that.
Like, yeah, it's an attractive fight, but is he gonna show up? At this point in my career, do I want to do a camp and not fight?
Right.
Which is why I told you, whoever was offered to Whittaker, he was gonna say yes. He was too deep in the training camp to pull out of the fight because he can't get a name, especially after what happened to Thompson. I couldn't see him say no. Like,
it's too deep.
So what he says yes to the one guy that everybody's been saying no to, who was on the card fighting, what's her name?
No, he was on this week's card that just passed.
He was
supposed to be the main.
Yeah,
for this week.
okay. He was supposed to be on. Yep, exactly.
And so they fast tracked him up to thing. Yeah. But again, like we discussed, not really because nobody's saying no to him. It's just no real space in that division to fight.
No, he said that we offered it to the whole middleweight division, and nobody has taken it. But I understand the fight doesn't make sense to most of these guys.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense for most of these guys.
And a lot of them are tied up. Like the schedule doesn't work. That's why they even went as far as offering Usman. Now,
Usman
Usman's
said
coach did say he accepted it.
He also said he accepted him.
Yeah.
He spoke out. He said he accepted it.
So I'm not sure. Maybe it was a UFC decision.
No, it makes sense. If Whittaker fights Usman, what does it do for him?
Yeah, but it does nothing for him now fighting Ikram either.
No, Ikram at least him, he just took a young up and coming guy who has struggled to get a fight. It's the same thing that happened with Abus. Same thing that happened with Abus. If he does the same thing that Sean Strickland did, title shot is possible. Especially if there's
definitely something for Ikram.
If somehow Strickland gets back to that title.
But there's also something in it for Usman, which is why he said yes. You know what I mean, as far as what's in it for Whittaker, there's nothing in it for Whittaker. Literally, like Whittaker's does it. His position. The only thing that happens is he still fighting.
And the thing is, he has no rush. He just needs a good performance.
And he's chilling.
And he can take a little vacation
for
and
Usman,
see how things fall, because I think this new fight that was booked, Izzy versus DDP, I think if no matter who wins, Strickland is next.
Yeah, Strickland's next for sure. Unless it's a rematch. No, I think they have the rematch base. But for Usman,
You think there's a rematch
for
of
Usman, there's
Strickland and
definitely
DDP fight?
hang on. For Usman, there's definitely space for how he moves forward because he's trying to move into that division, which brings us to again that title space where. If Usman came into the picture and was fighting Whittaker,
I see.
now we have.
I see how the fight makes sense for Usman.
Now we have Strickland
100%.
versus Usman as a contender thing, right?
100%.
Or even Strickland versus Usman in a title position, right? Like all these options open up. So that's why, but again, for Robert Whittaker, there is nothing that opens up.
It doesn't do anything for him.
Nothing.
But Ingram at least is a sexier. Is a sexier pick to me to fight because the fact that he's in the division. Whatever you do to him now, you gain him early, and whatever he does later is gonna give credit to that. He's somebody that nobody's picking up the phone to try to fight him. Same way that nobody was picking up the phone to try to fight Usman when he was up and coming. Nobody was picking up the phone to fight Whittaker when he first got to middleweight and got a couple knockouts. It happens. You see somebody up and coming, you either decide you're gonna get them early or. What does it do?
Yeah,
what does it do for me?
I feel all of that speculation except for the fact that Robert Whittaker literally said he didn't know who he was. So he just said yes and then did the tape study. So it's not even a perspective
I
of
believe, I believe he said yes to Usman and I believe he said yes to Ingram.
Mm-hmm.
And the bosses said what makes more sense is Ingram.
As far as building,
No, I don't think Whittaker
said. As far as building the future, the UFC was like, let's go Ingram.
Yes.
Yeah, because Usman's on the way out, right?
Yes.
He's switching divisions, but realistically,
like I said, Whittaker would have said yes if he was told he had to fight Vega.
I think the only person he would have said no to is Michel Pereira.
Really?
Yeah, I just think stylistically, he's not somebody that's worth it last minute. Like Ikram,
I see what you mean.
Again, like from a fighter's perspective,
I see what you mean.
There's no value for this fight for Robert Whittaker.
Same could be said if you say like Michael Venom Page, somebody whose style is
right. Like stylistically, for the amount of time you have, it's just not worth it.
I almost pushed back on that to I see what you're saying, but I still don't think that. I still don't think Whittaker would say no.
Now where I would say Whittaker would probably say yes is thinking unless Whittaker knows Pereira for the highlights. He doesn't know who that is either and just says yes and then sees the highlights and goes, what the fuck have I gotten into?
But that's
because that's the thing. Someone so chaotic is just tough to train for, right? So from that perspective, but knowing how Robert Whittaker said yes to Ikram, I'm like, he probably would have said yes to Michel Pereira too.
Yeah,
right?
I think he still would have said yes, but I see your logic in what you're saying.
But from a stylistic perspective, if he knows the guy's style,
I still think Whittaker handles him easily. You know that,
not worth it. Not worth it.
But I see your logic. I see your logic behind that.
That was just messy. That dude was just a mess of a fight. Before we get into the upcoming fights of this week, I want to talk about something real hilarious to me. Ariel Helwani.
I think I know you're talking about. Yep.
Versus Michael Bisping for the #1 commentator championship in the world. Ariel Helwani snap, bro. Like, Ariel Helwani really be saying some disrespectful shit for somebody who doesn't. Like, I don't actually know Helwani's background, so my apologies if I'm disrespecting your actual fight background. But from my understanding, I don't think he has a fight background. No. And so for someone who has no fight background, he be saying some wild shit.
I mean, he's not saying fight words, but they sound like fight words.
Nah, bro. You can't call somebody a bootlicker.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, he's not saying things to get you to fight him, but he's saying things that can easily push you to
like he's saying all the buzzwords for a fight. Like, if he was a fighter, this would already be something they'd be trying to book.
But that's the thing. In what space is it okay for a fighter to put their hands on a journalist just for what he's saying?
Yeah, that's complex, right? Because, like,
if he is a bootlicker, if he is Dana White's son,
there's no value.
He wouldn't be doing good for Dana White by putting his hands on him.
Right, by actually doing it to him. Or would he? Because we all know Dana hates Ariel Helwani. So, like, this particular journalist is different.
But what it actually does for the brand is not good.
Yeah, it's not good.
It can make him feel good, like, let me see how Ariel fell.
Right. You know what I mean? But for the brand, it'll be.
Truthfully,
but we've all been in that position where you laugh in the back and just deal with the lawsuit.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying?
No, of course. It's not us getting hit. We laugh.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff.
My question
but
is...
it's bad for the brand.
My question is should there be a line? Right? Like, where do... Because for me, again, like, in Ariel's defense, he was defending himself, right? Like, Michael Bisping, I'm not really sure how the whole thing started. I just saw the first clip of Michael Bisping snapping on Ariel. And it seems to be all about the UFC 303 stuff, which is kind of crazy because I was like, I don't really understand what you're defending here, Mike. Maybe want to dial this one back. Even without the cursing, you just kind of seem like you're in the wrong on this one. Just down the back a notch. I wasn't sure what was happening.
It doesn't even matter the words that are coming out. It's just like...
His perspective wasn't accurate.
No,
you know?
and Michael Bisping going at Ariel in that way, I don't want to see it.
It just seemed like a lot. So then Ariel responded with what I feel like was a bit much. You know what I'm saying? He called him a bootlicker, said all he does now is commentate on Power Slap. There's a lot of stuff in there that I just feel like for a man who's done so much as Michael Bisping, you can't really send those type of shots. You know what I'm saying?
Is it fair?
Now that's where my mentality comes in.
They took it to fair game.
That's where my mentality comes in. Is it fair because of what you already pointed out, right? Like, a fighter can't actually do anything to a journalist, right? Like, there's literally nothing a journalist can say where we're going to be like, yep, he gets it.
At the end of the day, you're stepping into their space.
Right.
You have a podcast, you can verbally annihilate them how you best can. But you're not going to put your hands on Ariel, please. I'm hoping you're not, as a Michael Bisping fan.
Oh, you're saying Michael's stepping into Ariel's space?
He is.
Yeah, no, he is. So you're saying he has to defend himself in that space.
At the end of the day, to a certain extent, he's become Ariel's competition.
Yes.
Ariel didn't jump in the cage and try to beat Bisping's record.
That's true.
Not saying that he's trying to do the numbers that Ariel does.
Right. Well, I mean, ultimately he is.
But he's stepping into a space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like...
Which makes, well, when you put it that way, that does make a ton of sense, too. You know, looking at it from Ariel's perspective, I still think the language was a bit much. Not that he cursed like crazy. I just feel like the shots were a little bit.
There's always that underlying
aggressive
thing like, wait, now he's getting clicks off me.
Right.
I'm not gonna mention this podcast, but I'm gonna kill him on my podcast.
Right.
And on my show.
That's the sport in that.
Yeah, you step in.
Bro, we're gonna have to watch our backs. This is gonna come for us.
Who cares?
That's crazy. I don't know. I care, bro. My feelings be getting hurt.
They're gonna call you a bootlicker the moment they see.
Call me a bootlicker, bro.
You the type. You're gonna be next to Trump. You're gonna be next to Trump.
Hell yeah, I'm gonna be next to Trump, bro. I'm not voting for Trump, but I'm gonna be like, Trump is a dude, bro. That's a human being. He's made some very questionable choices in life, but also he seems like the type of guy I wouldn't mind hanging out with at a bar. You feel me? Do I plan to go anywhere with him after the bar? Do I plan to go with him if he sees any woman at the bar? Absolutely not. Couple drinks at the bar, some wild conversation. Like, Trump seems like the type of guy who tells a lot of bullshit stories that are fun to listen to when you're drunk and you know they're bullshit. Because you walk away and you're like, oh, that was a fun waste of time. You know what I'm saying? That's my perspective on it anyway. But let's get into the fights coming up this week. Like I already forewarned.
Before that, I forgot. You mentioned something about a fight of the night, and I guess it didn't make it because it wasn't really no fight of the night, but fight of the night was Tank. I don't usually talk about boxing, but there's certain guys.
This guy.
Tank.
Watches one boxing match and all of a sudden.
Says the guy that was asleep because narcolepsy over here. Bro. Man. That's how he left Frank. That's how he left Frank.
He left Frank cold, bro.
The thing is, man, Tank is known for losing them early rounds, figuring it out, and just putting the hurting on them. And it was just a classic story.
Shout out to Ari Brisbane, man. If you know, you know. He gave me a call and was like, listen, bro. I asked him, I was like, yo, who we bet on for boxing? Because he watches boxing. I don't really watch boxing. And he was like, yo, Tank, 8th round. And I was like, that's crazy, bro. And even Mike put up the 5-rounder, and I was like, listen.
I definitely said 5. I was
y'all
like, 5?
Y'all giving me mixed emotions. I'm not betting on this at all.
I said 5.
But wow, we would listen to Ari and put a little quick.
8. Yeah, but you know what's the funny thing? I don't want to say it was the 5th round. It might have been the 4th round where he started figuring them out and started hurting them. At one point, he fainted, and he flinched so bad, he went like that, and Tank just laughed at him. Tank was wearing it in his face. Frank, no slouch.
Yeah,
man.
there was a couple parts I woke up for early in the fight.
There's gonna be a couple cats. There's gonna be a couple cats.
Red, you know what I mean?
There's gonna be a couple cats that's gonna be like, oh, I know how to beat Frank. Frank's gonna kill him. First time I ever seen Frank fight, but I do know you get in the ring with Tank, you lasted 8. That's an accomplishment in itself. If you lasted 1 or 2, that's nothing, because he's still doing homework in there. He's reading things,
But of course, what makes it to the interwebs is Ryan Garcia stepping into the ring afterwards with his incredible T-shirt.
I'm your number one fan.
Rematch me.
If I'm Tank, I tell him you beat Shakur. Here we go.
Get that out the way for him.
No, Ryan versus Shakur.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Get it out the way for Tank, because Shakur keeps calling out Tank. So if Ryan fights Shakur, it kind of saves him time.
The truth is, Shakur hasn't beat anyone to get the Tank fight.
Okay, so he's just chirping.
No, he's not just chirping.
Well, not from the perspective of being a fighter, but like
all right, so now we're gonna get into this. The real reason, one of the biggest reasons,
one boxing match.
One of the biggest reasons why boxing is terrible is because dudes like Shakur, who is the real deal, I don't know that he can beat Tank, but he might be the best to go against Tank. He has to chirp at the Ryan Garcias. He has to chirp at the Tank now, because Tank has now made himself a household name. Before he was a household name, certain people, me included, believed he was the best boxer at his weight class. And he just wasn't getting the love of Ryan Garcia, who is more of like a Disney kid. I don't know that he ever did anything like that, but he has a huge following. Huge following. They look at him as young, handsome kid, whatever it is. He has a huge following, and the moment Tank knocked him out, his following was going up and up, up and up. And that's just how it is. If nobody knows who Shakur is, Tank has no reason to grant him a fight. But he very well could be the guy that beats Tank.
I think
I'm not saying that he really will.
No, I'm not speaking on whether.
But the politicking he has to do to get there.
I'm not speaking on whether or not he beats him. I'm speaking on, I don't think we know enough about boxing to say how well known he is, because I feel like
I'm telling you,
those are some of the biggest names in boxing.
They are.
Now,
they are,
right?
but the difference between Shakur's following and Tank's following is crazy.
Yeah,
right now,
it's huge.
Shakur's about to fight somebody that Frank knocked out.
Yeah, but Shakur was scheduled to fight Rolly a little while back.
See how the same names is rolling around?
Right. That's what I'm saying. These guys are all in the same circle already, so I don't think that he has to do that much more to get, like, it's not like he's not a known name, you know what I'm saying? In the boxing world, he's a known name. Like, if we're talking about outside of boxing, yeah, of course, Tank is way bigger.
I think the people that watch boxing and they don't just follow the ties or whatever, they understand that Shakur is legit, but he's not a fun fighter to watch. So when you already don't have a following, it's hard for you to get the highlights. I mean, it's hard to get you up there when you don't have those highlights. His best ability is boxing, weaving, being hard to hit, counter punching.
Not like this other dude. What's the name of the dude with the little fucking
I know
you're
talking about Ben Whittaker.
Ben Whittaker. Oh my God! Of course his name will be Whittaker.
This week.
That reminds me. Let's get back into this UFC shit. But that dude Ben Whittaker is fucking hilarious to watch fight.
But the thing is, whether you love or hate him, people want to watch him because
his highlights are crazy.
And he's making a mockery, so people hate him and want to see him get knocked out, and that's buying a ticket.
That's buying a ticket for sure.
Or at least in viewership.
All right, getting into this week's UFC fights, we have UFC Saudi Arabia. We're going to go ahead and just start right from the main card, because the prelims are really nothing to get too excited about.
I mean, got some names.
We got Shara Magomedov. We just looked up Jolton Luderback. That should be a pretty fun fight. Either Shara's about to get fraud checked or Shara's about to take another step up in the notches. Jared Gordon versus Nasrat Hakparast. I try so hard to say these guys' names right because I feel like it's disrespectful to say it wrong.
Exactly. That's why I don't try.
Nasrat Barast versus Jared Gordon.
Gordon.
I actually like Jared Gordon in this fight because I think he beat Paddy Pimblett and they just gifted him that win.
So you would think they gifted him a decent fight, right?
No, I just think Jared Gordon is actually pretty good, and he just got robbed in that fight against Paddy.
I think that's a tough fight, though.
So we should see there. But going more importantly to the main card, we got
Johnny
up first the
Walker.
light heavyweight bout with Johnny Walker, Volkan Ozdemir. I'm super biased. I'm a huge Johnny Walker fan. Every fight he goes to, I pick him to win. So do not listen to me in any way, shape, or form for any betting advice.
I think he wins.
But nah, Johnny Walker got to win this. He just came off of a crazy knockout with Magomed Ankalaev, but Volkan also doesn't have a super strong chin. Either way,
He has a good left hand, though.
Either way, this should be a really, really, really fun fight to watch because Johnny Walker makes every single fight that they put him in as fun as he possibly can.
Yeah, I can't see that being boring at all.
Always fun.
Two pretty chinny guys.
So I'm thinking it's going to be a knockout fight for sure.
With power.
For sure.
So.
I'm hoping it's the Johnny Walker knockout, but it's going to be a knockout. The next two guys I don't really know too well, so we're going to skip them, but I'm sure they should be pretty fun. Either way, right after that, we got Kelvin Gastelum versus Daniel Rodriguez. I always look at Kelvin Gastelum, and Kelvin, please don't get upset about this, but Kelvin Gastelum looks like the stretched version of Henry Cejudo. Like, if you remember those old action figures that was like super soft plastic, and like if you pulled it, it would stretch a little bit. Like that's what Kelvin Gastelum looks like. If you just took Henry Cejudo and just like stretched him.
If we just talk ability, they're very similar. They're very similar. They're both guys that like the box with great wrestling, but Henry Cejudo
Triple
is
C, son. Ain't nobody got great wrestling like Triple C.
A lot better at mixing it up. And I don't know, Gastelum just seems to
Funny enough, they're training. He's training with him now. He's training with Henry now.
He tends to rely on his striking more. He hasn't been much of a wrestler in the UFC, man.
I don't know. I feel like Kelvin Gastelum is the child star, like the Hollywood star story of the UFC. Like he came into the UFC young,
20 years old,
and light-eyed and ready to go, and then somewhere along the way, he just kind of like fell off this track and like. I don't really know what's going on.
There's a lot of things that went right for him in the beginning, to be honest.
That's what I mean. He's much was going right.
You think he wins that fight to an Ultimate Fighter if him and... Damn, I'm spacing his name right now. Dangerous kicker.
Hall?
Uriah Hall. Him versus Uriah Hall. If they weren't so close to friends, you think he wins that fight? Uriah Hall seemed to have been like he didn't have that killer instinct. Something that he struggled with his whole career.
It's hard to think about old Kelvin. It's hard to think about that Kelvin while looking at this Kelvin.
No,
so I can't say.
And they were totally different.
Yeah,
that Kelvin will grab you and hold you.
Right.
But if I remember the fight, he did not grab and hold him. He was confident standing up with him and mixed it up, and that's how he won the fight. But Uriah Hall never really exploded for anything.
Yeah.
Maybe it was
saying the friendship.
Maybe it was Kelvin's wrestling, but I think he was struggling with the killer instinct.
Well, I'm interested to see how it goes
Remember he had the crazy knockout that he immediately was like,
I'm
sorry, Adam.
Wild knockout.
Sorry, Adam.
Yeah, but that was one of those where he was like, I thought I killed him, bro. Like that's different though. Like having killer instinct and then actually being in a position where you thought you killed somebody is different, bro.
No.
That's different.
No,
that's different.
But they play with that line in this game.
Yeah, you play with the line, but you want to stay on this side of it. You want to get as close to it as you can, but you want to stay on this side.
Especially when you're going against a wrestler who's not exactly dangerous. At that point in his career, Kelvin Gastelum was not dangerous, so he probably
maybe that's part of like what overhyped him. Anyhow, he's going up against Daniel Rodriguez, who I'm very upset at still because of his last fight against Ian Gary, and not because of his performance in the cage, although partly because of that, but more because, bro, you accepted the pizza? You fucking clown? Like, Ian Gary, the night before weigh-ins, Ian Gary sent a pizza to Daniel Rodriguez's hotel room. So Daniel Rodriguez came in just a little bit over,
I missed that whole
And-
novela.
Sluggish as shit, bro. You could tell he was full of grease.
I do
and it
remember.
was-
I do remember being upset at him not shooting for the takedown.
I'm mad at that. And then he was tired. He was full of grease. He couldn't do it. So I'm still mad at him about that. But just because I'm mad at him about that doesn't take away from the fact that I do think this is going to be another banger of a fighter.
I think
another banger of a fight.
I think he wins. Kelvin Gastelum versus guys that.
If you want to take that. If you want to take that risk on the guy who accepted a pizza the night before weigh-in, feel free. He's plus 195 right now, so the odds are in your favor.
I'll be betting for that.
The odds are in your favor.
I like those crazy bets.
Right after that, we've got a heavyweight bout that's surely not going to go far. Alexander Volkov versus Sergey Pavlovich. We've got an incredible, young, amazing stallion of a boxer in Sergey Pavlovich, but he doesn't really have a ton of other skill sets. Versus Alexander Volkov, a man who looks deceivingly young for how much time he has spent in the UFC already.
Very rangy fighter.
So we got experience versus newcomer, well-rounded experience. I'm going Volkov. The odds are not on the UFC website right now, but Volkov is the underdog right now, as expected. Those odds are probably going to keep growing. I'm going to watch them keep growing.
That's probably who you're betting on, but do you think that's who wins?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't. Listen, I don't give you guys betting advice.
I'm shocked that we agree. But don't get it twisted. Sergey can still.
Sergey can get it done for sure. Mm-hmm. But if Volkov survives him getting it done, Volkov wins.
If getting it done, you mean he survives his punch?
Well, yeah, because one punch is getting it done.
I should have done a 20-minute intervention on you right now about how can he survive getting it done.
I would have corrected myself and been like, "You can't. You're right. I was tripping."
But there's a difference. You said something very definitive.
Something crazy. You're right. That is not possible. What
that was very definitive.
As long as he survives,
if he gets it done.
As long as he survives those big punches,
he survives him getting
I think Volkov can get it done. I mean, he gets to win by decision.
No, I agree.
I agree.
If he survives early Furies, it'll be very tough.
Yeah. And again, Sergey is a great technical boxer, but Volkov can mix it up, and in mixing it up, he can find those shots, maybe possible ending early. So
maybe he's not a great technical boxer, but he definitely has some strange power, like on the short shots.
He's boxer. He got some boxing behind him.
Maybe no, I don't know that it's like
got a little bit of boxing behind him.
I don't know there's like big time technique.
That's what's got him up this far.
When you look who he's standing in front of though. A big, rangy guy that.
Yeah, no. That's why I'm going Volkov.
No. That's what I'm saying.
Again, don't take.
We're talking about. If we're talking about technique, I don't know that Sergey is at an advantage in that part. Power, 100%.
Power for sure.
100%.
And speed. I think he's faster than Volkov. I think those are the two issues that Volkov
punches
has.
Faster.
He's faster.
Punches faster.
Yeah.
He's not faster.
Well, it's hard to say because he doesn't have as much movement.
Volk moves a lot better.
Yeah, he moves better.
He moves a lot better, but he doesn't throw with the same speed.
Yeah. But it should still be a very exciting fight. Very big fight. Two big guys up there. Always exciting when it's two big guys, unless it's two sleeper guys, and we usually can kind of look at them and say these guys are going to be sleepers and do nothing. Thankfully, these are not two of those guys. Also, coming up next, hopefully in relation to Ben Whittaker, but probably not. Rob Whittaker versus Ikram Aliskerov.
They are not related.
It'd be so cool if they came from like that kind of legacy of fighters, bro. That'd be crazy.
I believe he's from the UK.
Okay.
I believe he's from the UK, and Whittaker obviously is from Australia. But he says he says he has family in New Zealand and such. So yeah,
it's possible.
It's possible, but then I don't think so.
Either way, you can expect an exciting fight from Robert fucking Whittaker. Okay,
the Reaper.
You know what I'm saying?
Don't call him Bobby Knuckles, but
versus Ikram Aliskerov, who is stepping up short notice. Although he was already in camp because he was supposed to be fighting on the card that just passed. And they were like, nah, let's move you over here since Khamzat got a tummy ache again.
I was tempted to watch an Ikram fight, but I'm like, I'll just wait. I'm going
to watch one. I know that, I
only seen the knockout. I seen when Khamzat got him.
I believe Robert Whittaker is going to win this fight. I do not think there's really any situation where Ikram wins. There may be a power shot opportunity because of a power punch, but I don't think that the power difference is that dynamic. So now, I also don't think that Robert Whittaker is going to completely blow Ikram out the water. Like, it's going to be this one-sided fight the whole way. I just don't think that Robert loses. That's where I'm at with it. But it's going to be an exciting-ass fight card, especially coming off the snooze fest that was this past weekend.
Yes. And I'll elaborate on that. I don't want to watch an Ikram fight because I don't want to give an analysis. I'd rather just watch Whittaker as a fan, and I just understand that he has to get this done. This would be a terrible loss.
It would be.
It would be a terrible loss. That would be 3 in a row.
No, he beat Paulo.
Oh no! He just beat.
He lost to Dreykus, beat Paulo.
He just beat Paulo. that would be, I believe, at least 3 losses in his last 5.
If he loses to
to lose to somebody without a number on his name, it'll give him a number 100%.
Yep.
But it will probably push Whittaker like 7-ish.
Probably. He'll be out of the top 5 for sure. For sure. Which is weird because Marvin Vettori is still in the top 5 spot, but that's a different conversation.
Yeah, but Marvin hasn't lost to anybody that's not in the top 5.
True. Very, very true. So I think that pretty much wraps it up for this week. It unfortunately, like I said, this past fight weekend wasn't that exciting. Mike thinks you can sub somebody without holding them down, so we learned that.
Hey, if he survives getting it done, he might win.
But shit, man, this has been another episode of the Main Event Fightcast. You can follow Mike at SF Big Mike. You can follow me at What Up Vega. And thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate it. The numbers ain't that crazy, but every single view counts. And to see us averaging 100 views a week is not too bad. So I'll rock with it. You know what I'm saying? Let's have some fun. Appreciate you guys.